We're live.
Okay. So this begins the pre-meeting for the Rochester Preservation Board hearing on February 3rd, 2021. During the pre-meeting, staff and board members review cases. There is no participation by applicants or the public. Following the conclusion of the pre-meeting, a public hearing will be held at 6 p.m. Here, all cases will be heard, applicants will present, and public comments will be read into the record. Deliberations will follow. Okay, so the first item we actually have on our agenda tonight, and this is a first for me on the board going through this process, but is the extension of time request. So some of you, I think, some of you, I think, with the exception of Kajana and Karsten, were around in 2018 for the case of 1010 East Avenue. Was everyone able to review the documentation I sent over regarding that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Quickly.
It was a short period of time we had, but for
Yeah, it
Sorry
was more
for
of a
the late
skim.
response. I mean, the biggest thing is to just get an understanding of what the decision was, the notice of decision, and then to read that letter that they sent over. So the way this process works is when the Preservation Board makes a decision for a certificate of appropriateness, that decision is valid for 1 year, and within 1 year's time, an applicant must apply for a permit. If they don't apply for a permit, they can get an extension for 1 year at the discretion of the manager of zoning based on some sort of reasoning why they need that extension. Anything beyond that 1 year extension needs to be reviewed by the board of origination of that decision. So in this case, it was the Preservation Board, and your charge tonight for that case, and that we're going to review it in the pre-meeting here, is just to review it to recommend or not recommend an extension based on the applicant's reasoning. I can bring up that letter, but I could just summarize it as well. I think I'll just do that. Basically, they've been trying to raise funds for the last few years for the construction of the addition at the rear of the structure, the parish house at 1010 East Avenue. What's complicated matters with the fundraising was this year, especially the COVID-19 pandemic, which made it very difficult for them to continue their fundraising efforts. So I don't know if you guys want to discuss, and then you can vote.
right now, discuss it right now, Chris?
Yeah, we're going to do this in the pre-meeting. So Chris, I don't know if you want to go through and see if anyone has questions.
I guess we could do it alphabetically. Deborah, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. I'll be interested to discuss the pros and cons of this. No questions.
Okay. I guess we'll start with questions and then deliberate, maybe as we normally do. I have no questions. I remember the case. It's pretty straightforward. Kajana, have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
We'll come back for comments and deliberation. Jim Deviney, any questions?
No, but I was noticing that this actually dated back to May of 2018. So, I mean, that's been two and a half years ago. So it seems like it took them a lot longer to do something seemed out of sync with the request for going beyond 1 year. It seems like they've gone way beyond 1 year. And I don't know if that's a factor or not. But generally, no, I don't have any big issues here other than that.
So would that be a question for Chris? If you could help
Let me
shed some light on that?
go through the questions. I'm going to look into that really quick in our files to see if there's
Okay.
any information on that.
We'll come back around. Gerald, any questions?
My only question is they are simply asking to be allowed to basically have the certificate of appropriateness based on the resolution we made in May of 2018. Like we discussed in depth, we approved it with conditions. All they're asking is to do what we approved them to do in May of 2018. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, and so as far as the delay goes, I mean, we obviously discussed in depth then. As long as the delay goes, I mean, I understand Jim asking, but it makes sense to me. I mean, with everything going on and fundraising is hard. So at least for me, my opinion of the project, hasn't changed.
Okay. Dave Matthews, any questions?
No, no questions. I kind of agree with Gerald. It's just a matter of time, but given this year, it's kind of a little crazy for everything.
Kirsten, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. I guess let's go back around to Deborah. What are your thoughts, Deborah? Comments?
Most of them have already been said. I think if they're asking for the same thing we approved before, chances are I would still approve it. It has been a pretty difficult time. This applicant has been a pretty tried and true, high quality applicant in the past. I don't see any reason to deny it.
Okay.
Unless other opinions sway that. I just think it's kind of straightforward.
I would
Those are my
completely.
thoughts.
Okay.
To answer Jim's question, sorry to interrupt, but to answer Jim's question, it looks like it was extended to November of 2020. Previously, the applicant came to us in December. So it's possible that we gave them a longer extension than a year. I'm not exactly sure, but it looks like that's when the extension of time was for November 2020. So they came to us in December to try to extend it a year. There are occasions where we give a grace period of some amount of time for them to come with the application materials to us once they ask. So that's the case we're looking at here.
Thank you. My comments are pretty much the same as Deborah's. They've always given a great presentation, everything we needed. They followed all the guidelines. I don't see any issues extending it personally. Kajana?
I looked through it and noted that, those individuals who were on the board at the time, what they're asking for doesn't seem to have changed anyway in terms of looking at the overall format. So if it's just a question of an extension, given the proposal's the same, I don't see why not.
Thank you. And Jim Deviney?
We did approve this when it was presented, and this organization has been good stewards of the property. So no, I have no objections to the extension.
Thank you. Gerald Gamm?
I'm on board with all of you. I mean, not only is Asbury Methodist a really good steward of the property, but Barrow, who I think is the architect, has also been a very good firm in terms of being sensitive to historic things. We reviewed it carefully. I completely support the extension.
Thank you. And Dave Matthews?
Yeah, I don't think my opinion would change any. So, there's no no reason for me to think otherwise. Rather that it would have any other conditions on it or anything. So I would agree to let the extension continue.
Okay, thank you. And Kirsten?
I don't have anything else to add. I think if it was a non-COVID year, maybe it wouldn't be a good precedent, but it's crazy. I'm fine with it.
Then I guess we'll go down and I guess I need a motion.
Yeah, I want to just to describe like the procedural elements of this. So what you're doing is making a recommendation one way or the other, or in between, to the zoning manager about whether to grant a 1-year extension.
Thank you. Deborah, did you want to give me a motion?
Sure. I'd like to make the motion that file number A0332021, correct? No.
048.
Yeah, sorry.
1718. Yep. It's in the
There, I see
meeting
it
with
now.
staff section. Yep.
Yep, got it. Okay, so Sorry, everyone. File number A0481718 at 110 East Avenue, that we approve the requested extension. Requested time extension for this project.
Second.
Okay, thank you. A motion has been made by Deborah Beardsley and seconded by Gerald Gam. I'll go down alphabetically and take a vote. Deborah Beardsley, do you vote yay or nay for that motion?
I vote yay.
Deborah Beardsley votes yay. I, Christopher Coretta, vote yay for that motion. Kajana Crawford?
Yay.
Kajana Crawford votes yay for that motion. Jim Deviney?
Yay.
Jim Deviney votes yay for that motion. Gerald Gam?
Yay.
Gerald Gam is a yay for that motion. David Matthews?
Yay.
David Matthews is a yay. And Kristen Solberg?
Yay.
Okay, it's a unanimous yays. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yays. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, everyone.
Sure.
I know that was we don't typically do those. Typically projects are done within, maybe we'll do one extension and you don't ever see them come back, but this was one of those cases where it did. So now I think we should just go through each of the cases for those who visited the site or not. I guess I'll just name the case, or I'll just say case 1. Everyone visit the site? Anyone not visit the site? Okay. Case 2, anyone not visit the site? Case 3, anyone not visit the site? In case 4? Okay, so all staff visited, all board members present visited all the sites. Okay. And now we can go through each of the cases. Any questions or I guess just questions at case 1. Anyone have any questions, comment? Case 2. Case 3. And
So case 3.
Yep.
So I sent an email to you and Tom, well, Chris also. We just want to clarify, even though twice in case 3, Tim Forrester is identified with the Landmark Society. We just want to clarify for everybody that this has nothing at all to do with the Landmark Society.
I have a follow-up question to that. I saw his letter. He's with the Landmark Society, but he's also the vendor for the windows. Is that not correct? Interesting.
Yeah, so Kirsten, the interesting thing is, and this creates an interesting situation for multiple organizations.
Yeah.
He is simply selling windows, but he signed the
Right.
letter using his identification as a vice president of the Landmark Society.
But he is part of the Landmark Society, and I think he has the right to sign that. Am I correct, Tom?
That's not for us to really opine on. We just want to make it clear that the Landmark Society hasn't taken a position in this case, and Gerald's made that clear, and that it's merely that the applicant's person that prepared the application is a member of the board, but is submitted the application and did the analysis on behalf of his employer, Rochester Colonial.
Okay.
Is it okay to voice an opinion about any of what just
So
said?
this all came up because Gerald and Chris are both members of the board, and so just wanted to make it clear that we all understand there's not a position being taken by the Landmark Society, and that therefore there's no issue about whether Chris or Gerald have a conflict.
Okay, but the review is no way endorsed by the Landmark Society or
Right.
holds any, right, okay.
Okay. All
Right, and we actually reached out to them just to confirm that this is not endorsed in any way at all by the Landmark Society. He
Yeah.
just signed it because he is in fact a vice president and trustee, and he made the decision on his own to include that information.
Understood.
Okay, and so that doesn't violate any ethical issues as far as the board is concerned. This
Right,
board.
that's
This
why,
board.
yes.
Okay, all right.
Anything else on case 3 that anything content wise in the application? Okay. Case 4.
It was a tough one. I struggled with this guy, I think.
I
Oh,
didn't hear
sorry.
you.
David, can you say that again?
Oh, I said I just struggled with this one. You know, the doors were so unique,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and the replacement isn't anywhere close. But, you know, looking through our guidelines, you know, could they even get something that was close, or would you just be going to a carriage style because it's a carriage style, but you're not really, you know, replicating what's there or what was there? So I don't like the one that they replaced it with, but you know, if there were concerns about trying to replicate what was there in the past
Mhm.
adequately, you know, did they just throw them out? You know, would you even have measurements?
Right.
Would you,
Mhm.
you know, would you be making a guess? And then, yeah, I don't know. Would we ever get those back, you know, adequate way? So I don't know. I was
You
just,
can't even tell if they're damaged from the photos. It looks like they were spared almost.
Yeah.
but they, you know, they look like they were, at least looked like they were supposed to be carriage doors originally. And
Mhm.
it's just, they're so unique. You know, having that much glass in them. So I don't know. Personally, I'm just struggling with how to react to
Mhm.
the application. I don't know how anybody else feels about it.
Yeah,
Because chances are if they had come before us, before replacing them, we would not have approved of it.
right. Right.
I get it.
So I
Right,
think.
no, yeah, I had the same reaction. What makes this hard is it's a legalization case. I don't think we would approve these.
Yep.
Well, I can't speak for us. I would have trouble approving these if they hadn't already installed them.
So a lot of that, I think, goes into the questioning of the applicant too. Dave Matthews brought up a good point of, you know, what are they going to do with these windows if they have to, you know, part of that is asking the applicant because they may have some insight into not the windows, I'm sorry, the doors. What do you do with these doors? Can they be sent back? What options are available? Some of
Yeah,
those
do we even
questions
know
may
if they're
help.
still around?
The old doors? No, we don't know that. So
That's a thing to ask.
Yep.
You know,
I mean, if
And
nothing
somewhat in
else.
the reasoning, I guess, of why they were removed, that too would maybe a good question. There was some information in the package, but I believe the applicant could probably elaborate on that.
So
Yeah,
Chris, are you suggesting it's relevant to our deliberations, whether they can exchange these new doors? Because I would think that would be irrelevant to our deliberations.
I'm
Right.
just saying if it's a question of getting background information to assist you with your deliberations, not necessarily that in itself is.
But should that be relevant to our decision? Let's say they
No,
say,
the standard should be relevant to the standard should be relevant to your deliberations, but you know, Dave brought up questions that would be relevant to the applicant. And, you know, those aren't questions you have to ask because again, the standards are relevant to your deliberations, but it's worth asking.
And it informs whether there are alternatives available, like so that even if you turn down this application, it'll be on the record both what elements of the application made it unsatisfactory, and if part of it is that there's the option to restore original doors, then
Mhm.
that would be a justification and also maybe help guide them in how to bring their property up to legality.
Okay, so I think that's it. We will reconvene at 6 p.m. for the public hearing.
Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank
Chris?
you.
Chris, Juan here.
Hey,
Before
Juan.
everyone leaves, hang on one second.
Oh, okay.
Did you want to talk about anything about the presenter for number 4? Or you just want to wait to see how he presents?
Yeah, I think it's good that you're available to answer those questions, but I don't think that right now, if there's any questions in discussion of the permitting process and where we are at this point. I mean,
Okay.
maybe it is you know what, actually, I think that's good background information. If you want to sort of explain a little bit of that process. I know we discussed that before, Juan.
Well, I don't know. I think that we shouldn't be addressing things unless they're raised
That are
by the
relevant.
applicant.
That makes
We'll
sense.
wait, we'll wait for
Yeah.
testimony.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tom.
Okay.
Thanks, Juan.